I know you're going to hate to hear this, but your channel isn't stuck because of the algorithm. It's stuck because of stuff you're doing wrong that you could fix today, and in this video I'm going to hand it all over to you. But I feel like I need to start off by saying that you really don't need more information. Let's face it. You've already got more YouTube tips and tricks than half of the huge channels ever had along the way. You probably watch 20, 30 of these type of videos every single month, yet your channel still looks exactly the same as it did before you started. That's the trap. Watching this stuff lights up the same part of your brain that actually doing it does. So you feel productive, it's an illusion, while nothing's actually being made. And all that watching does is it turns you into the guy who feels like they know everything while doing nothing. It's the same person who's parked in everybody else's comment section telling them what they did wrong, or even worse, the moron that's in my comment section writing an 8-paragraph response to one of my videos trying to convince themselves that what I teach doesn't work. I'm going to hand you everything that you need right now in this video to get your channel into momentum. And I already know the first one's going to make you roll your eyes, so let's just get it out of the way. Your title and your thumbnail. And I know everybody and their grandma says that this is towards the top as far as importance when it comes to these YouTube growth videos, including myself. And you're sitting there thinking, Adam, my thumbnails are great and still nobody's clicking on them. Or Adam, I've tried all these tools, nothing works. You sound like everybody else. What's the actual secret, bro? You're gatekeeping? I've heard all of that and more. But here's the reason that all of us put it towards the top. And it has nothing to do with an algorithm hack, has nothing to do with some deep revelation. Your title and thumbnail are the front gate to your video. It's the entry point. It's the front door. And if nobody clicks, then all the other stuff that I'm about to share with you in this video cannot save you. Because if nobody ever sees the video, it doesn't matter if it's your best work, it just sits there and rots. Doesn't matter what camera you used, doesn't matter how much you love the edit, doesn't matter how many resources you spent, time, effort, energy. If nobody clicks, none of that shit matters. So the bar isn't, I made a thumbnail. The bar is, would a stranger stop their scroll, click on your video and watch it? Here's where most people lose. They shoot the whole entire video first, and then after they edit, they figure out, I think I'm going to use this as the title. I think I might do this for a thumbnail. And it's totally backwards. You need to build out the title and thumbnail before you ever hit record. Because that's the promise. And the video that you're making is keeping that promise. You don't have to have it 100% locked in either. Some people are like, I don't know what it's going to be. Something might change. That's fine. You can make adjustments along the way. You can make changes later, but you need to have a starting point. So the problem that I see with many creators these days is the whole AI revolution, and they outsource the entire creative process. I firmly believe that AI is not the creator. AI should be the interrogator. AI should pull this stuff out of you, not just create it and you read it off, from some ChatGPT script. But yeah, I see that. I talk to a lot of people. They're like, Adam, I'm using all the right prompts. Adam, I'm finding outlier videos and I copy the transcript and I say, don't plagiarize, but I want to remake this video. And then they go and use some super ugly AI thumbnail that they generated that looks something like this. And then they trust these awful tools that are incredibly popular to tell them inaccurately if their video is perfectly optimized. And I get it. Like, if you don't know any better, it seems like a solid workflow, especially when other YouTube gurus are telling you to do it this way. Without giving you any context, by the way. They're not giving you any instruction on how to actually do it. I started on YouTube in 2009. I did YouTube for 10 years before AI really started popping up. So all the analog ways that worked still work, but we just have to understand how to do them because now we're outsourcing the entire process to tools that we don't know if we can trust. But let's say on the other side of the coin, you totally nail it. Somebody stops, somebody clicks. That's where the real bleeding or the real holes in the bucket begin. That's where we could start to identify it because it's almost never the reason that people think. They blame the video. They blame the title and the thumbnail brought the wrong people. YouTube showed it to the wrong people. But it's almost always them. I could hear it in the first 10 seconds, and you guys can too. Flat voice, no energy or enthusiasm. It's like the sound of a person, but no soul to it. It's like they hit record and they were like, I'm going to figure it out along the way. All the while, the camera's rolling, and it doesn't make any sense because I live in a world where these entrepreneurs are doing ads, they're doing webinars. It's almost like if you went to a movie and the director was like figuring it out live, like it doesn't happen that way. People spend all their time and effort in these other places. They spend more time on vertical videos on Instagram and TikTok because it seems like it's less work. And then they show up on YouTube and they're just like, I don't know, somebody will sit through this. I'll figure out what I'm talking about. I can do this, right? Now, I've been on YouTube for a long time, since 2009, and this is something that completely changed the game for me when I started looking at it a little bit differently. I treat YouTube like an athlete. I look at my own videos like game film, right? And I always say if you treat YouTube like a sport, you can get paid like an athlete. And I say that for a reason, not just because of the pay situation or building a business with YouTube is really what I'm referring to. If you look at how you do and you're self-critical, right? And you can actually be accountable for your own, let's say, performance. You can record yourself and watch it back and say, oh, I flopped right there. I went off on a tangent. I could do better next time. I wasn't making eye contact. I was saying and ah a million times. I didn't feel confident. And then I want you to watch it back again with your eyes closed, looking away from the screen. Just audio, just listening. You're going to hear every single dead spot. You're going to hear all the things that your eyes kind of tricked you into, right? Because fancy edits can kind of mask it, but when you just listen, and side note, a lot of people just listen to YouTube videos. If you're on here right now just listening to me while doing something else, let me know in the comments. I'd love to see that. But if you sound like a robot because you're reading off a teleprompter, it's going to be emphasized when you're just listening. When people are bouncing left and right, there's huge holes in your bucket as far as attention kind of leaking out of your video, right? And when you just listen, a lot of times you can hear exactly why it's happening and exactly where it's happening. Because if you don't sound like you actually believe what you're saying, then there's no chance that the person watching on the other side of the screen believes you. There's a whole gap between, people that do YouTube as a hobby, the amateurs, and people that do it, I call them builders, but it'd be more like on the other side of amateur be professionals. And the wild part is that the effort that we put into our videos is the one thing we do absolutely control. So we can upgrade that for free every single day. You just have to intentionally invest the time and attention into looking at what you're doing, paying more attention, and going into it with a different mentality. And all the conviction in the world still falls flat if you're aiming at the wrong person. I want you guys to understand that. The wrong moment, the wrong person, the wrong topic. That's exactly what wrecks most people's channels. It's exactly what ruins the opening retention. We have about 3 to 8 seconds before somebody decides whether or not they're going to stick around. Not the 30 seconds that everybody's preaching. About 8. Now, I want you to think about your own day for a second. How many responsibilities do you have? How many things are on your to-do list? How many things do you have to do versus want to do versus wish you could do? And how many days do you just go through your day and say, I don't feel like it? Doesn't matter if it's mowing the lawn or doing the dishes or doing laundry or even going to the gym. How many days do you say, I don't feel like it? And I ask because the same exact reflex happens on YouTube. If nothing is felt in a video, then nothing's watched. So you have to hit them with something that gives an emotional trigger. That cracks open the door for them to walk in. But just a crack. People don't show up for just information being pushed at them. People being spoken at. You need to speak with your audience. They have Google, they have ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Grok, Gemini, and so many more to just get the information. They showed up for the experience. They showed up for the delivery system, hence us. And that experience needs to be built. Now here's where people try to buy their way out of this, and it's the most expensive mistake on the list. They go and drop $5,000 on a camera. Maybe they get a Sony FX3 with a new lens. Maybe they get the new I'm a Sony guy, so Nikon makes a great camera, but it's a total waste. Here's the thing that I'll actually tell you. You need to care about the audio. And you've heard this before, but the audio beats the visuals. It's not even close. People watch with AirPods. They watch with super cheap, super expensive headphones, tiny little laptop speakers. They might be watching a video on their Tesla screen with the car speaking, the car audio system. Rough audio is a nightmare. You guys have seen videos that look good and they're like clipping, meaning like the audio's too loud and it gets very, very distorted, and you leave. Because it doesn't matter how beautiful it is, grainy footage with high quality sound, that's totally watchable. If you have a gorgeous 8K video with garbage audio, they're gone in 5 seconds. People think that buying new gear is magically going to make them want to create, or that the viewer could somehow tell that they spent all this money. They can't. 9 times out of 10, the person can't figure out the expensive gear after they buy it. I was that guy. I didn't know what aperture or shutter speed was after I bought my first DSLR. It was a Canon T3i back in the day. I used that for like 2 years without understanding any of the settings. And it came out looking worse than my iPhone footage would look today. This is the thing. Use what you have until what you have pays for what you want. You can go back and look at the release video from the iPhone 11. And everybody on the planet was saying this camera quality is top notch. Oh my goodness gracious. And it looks good. But it's because they knew how to use it. The old stuff was incredible. It still is. If you have something, if you can get your hands on something secondhand, by all means. If you have more money than you know what to do with, then go buy all the stuff, bro. But what I'm telling you is that it's not going to magically inspire you to create. In fact, in my experience, every time I bought a fancy camera that I didn't quite grasp, I would sit and look at it, I would watch tutorials, and it would take me forever to get into momentum. Now, the one place I will tell you to spend a little bit of time and money is to figure out what you're gonna make before you make it. As I mentioned earlier, you guys know there are a ton of tools out there that are built to help you with your titles and your thumbnails, YouTube stats, etc. And I've run through the vast majority of them over the last 16 years. So let me take a quick second to talk about a software that I've personally been using and I've been paying for out of pocket for about 3 years now. And it's hands down the best thumbnail and best title research tool I have ever touched. And it's called 1 of 10. And they're actually running a really epic deal right now where you can get started for just $1, which is insane. The last time I mentioned 1 of 10, I got a lot of different emails and DMs and stuff from people sharing how much they were really enjoying it. And side note, if you want me to do a full-blown video on all the different tools that I personally use to build my YouTube videos and run my business, let me know in the comments and I would love to make a full-blown video for that. So if you want to try 1 of 10, I have a link in the description box below, and I want to thank 1 of 10 for sponsoring a portion of today's video. The vast majority of the biggest names on YouTube are using this over anything else, and there's a reason why I keep paying every single month as an actual user, not just a guy reading an ad. I'll drop the link in the description. Like I said, I highly recommend at least checking it out. Like I said, it's $1. Now, with that being said, let's fast forward to where your packaging is where it needs to be with the title and the thumbnail. Your delivery is dialed in a lot better than it used to be, at least. I'm talking about cadence, conviction, pacing, tonality, all that good stuff. Your audio's clean. The visuals look fine. There's still one thing that if you do it wrong, YouTube's going to completely give up on your channel. And it's something that people don't talk about a lot because it's hard to address because people don't like hearing it. You're confusing the algorithm. And that's the reason that YouTube punishes you, even though I don't feel like it's malicious. It's just the way that the system works. If you look at your channel like a book, it has one core topic, one core theme, and then every chapter feeds into it. It's no different than anything I have back on these bookshelves. Your channel's the exact same way. One core topic, every video is a spoke of a wheel that feeds back to the center of the wheel, which is the main focus. This channel right here, YouTube growth. I could talk about cameras. I could talk about camera settings. I could talk about software to edit. I could talk about strategy and tactics. I could talk about YouTube news. I could talk about communication style. I could talk about case studies of other channels. That, like, everything I talk about goes right back to my main core topic. And I don't understand how people are confused about this, but here's what people miss. Say one video that you upload is about oil change on a 2023 Ford F-150. And then the next video that you upload is you geeking out about some new AI tool. Well, YouTube grabs everybody who loved that oil change video, and then they send them the AI one because that's how it works. And it serves your new video to an old crowd that has no interest in you doing a geek out video about an AI tool. So they don't click, they don't watch. YouTube reads that as a flop and just stops showing it to people. You confused it. That's on you. That's not on the algorithm. You can't have everything under one roof and expect it to build. Now, I know what's coming. Some of you guys are going to try to roast me in the comments with like 5 examples of channels that you've been following for a long time that have more of a generalist perspective. And let's talk about that. To be totally fair, generalists do win on YouTube. There are huge channels, but it's a super narrow lane. The big personality required, the challenge videos, for example, Ryan Trahan's a good example of this. He'll do, I did this for 30 days or the 1 penny challenge, and he kills it. He crushes it. It's about him. It's about the personality bringing you into that world. Or you have to be an insanely talented storyteller, like a little bit old school, but Casey Neistat, Emma Chamberlain. Those people absolutely crush it. They are specialists, but in how they create the content, not the specific focus of the content. They pull you into their world. So that's what's captivating. And that's one of the purest forms of entertainment content on YouTube. It works, but it's a personality game, and I'm willing to bet money that the vast majority of the people who argue with me that, oh, it's totally possible, don't have a great personality at all. They don't know how to bring it out on camera, and they don't have the time horizon to build for years to get to that point where they come off real natural on camera. So it's always a, they did it, why can't I? Because you're not that person. And it's a completely different sport than what we're playing. For everybody else, picking one thing and letting everything surround that, That's the play. Or you could spend 5+ years doing the other play and building it up and having an entertainment content channel, which is not what I'm talking about at all on my channel anyway, but that's your choice. Which brings me to the most transparent, honest thing that I'm going to say in this whole video. And for a lot of you, I'm hoping that this takes a huge weight off your shoulders. It removes some stress and anxiety that you've been feeling. You have to be honest about which one you actually are. Are you a builder or are you a hobbyist? And before you cringe and start roasting me in the comments, I think I'm opening myself up for a lot of that this video. When I say hobbyist, I don't mean it as an insult at all. 0%. Now, if you're here for fun, YouTube's a creative outlet. You love making content. That's great. I want you to keep doing more of that. But if that's you, here's me giving you permission to stop watching growth content. Stop buying courses. Stop saving up for a camera that you don't need. Quit losing sleep over the results and the numbers and the YouTube studio and, oh, this is a 9 out of 10. I'm a failure. None of that was ever for you. You can get in incredibly good shape without hiring a trainer. You can make amazing stuff that you're genuinely proud of on your frickin' phone these days. So if it's a hobby, drop the self-imposed pressure and go all in and just enjoying the process in the first place. Sometimes those are the channels that blow up. I want you to make it. I want you to post it. And I want you to have fun. That's the entire point of a frickin' hobby. Where it goes sideways is when somebody puts all that pressure and grades themselves on a pro scale and then gets crushed when the numbers don't reflect how they feel they should have been received. I'm talking about the burnout. I'm talking about the frustration, that ready to quit feeling that I hear all the time from you guys, whether it be in the comments, a DM, or an email. The majority of that, unfortunately, is self-imposed. A hobbyist and a builder play two completely different sports. They were never intended to feel the same. They were never intended to operate in the same space. Doing something as a hobby is pure, it's fun, it's an outlet. Don't say, oh, this person's getting a ton of views. That person might not be playing the same game. So I'm self-aware enough to know that I come off a little intense sometimes. I get fired up about this. When I'm writing a script or an outline, I am fired up about whatever I'm trying to instill into you guys. And all I'm begging you to do right now is decide on purpose. If you're doing it as a hobby, good. Enjoy it guilt-free. If you're stepping into what I call the builder role, good. Now you know where your energy has to go. Either way, you're walking out ahead, in my opinion, because most of the pressure that you've been feeling and hauling around, and it's been affecting other parts of your life, has never been real to begin with. So if you're brave enough, or should I say self-aware enough, I'd like to know in the comments, which one are you? Are you a builder? Are you a hobbyist? There's no wrong answer, obviously, and I want you to tell me why. Because I'm genuinely curious to see how many people watch my channel that at the end of the day are just hobbyists. I have a feeling, but I'd like to hear from you. Now, speaking of being a little brave and transparent, I want to share with you something and peel back the curtain on why I actually make these YouTube videos to begin with. A lot of you guys are like, oh, you're just selling a course. Like, I understand that 99% of all of my viewers will never become my client. And that's exactly how it's supposed to work. That's why I launched this channel. I want to give it away all for free. I want to be known as the guy who is the tough love person. The help is actually, or the content is actually helpful. It's beneficial. It's packed with more value than anybody out here trying to hawk a $27 a month course. There's no gatekeeping, because when enough of you actually get results, two things happen. Both of them are amazing. One is most of you guys will actually find momentum and success, and you guys will get into, you get unstuck, right? And that's the whole reason that I'm here, because I understand that a small percentage of people are going to hit a bigger, messier problem as their channel scales, and somewhere down the road, they're going to come back and reach out to me. They want to work with the guy who helped them get to there for free and actually become a client and be on the inside and have more hand-holding. It's the same thing as a personal trainer. And for those of you who are building a business, this is important for you. People can watch a boatload of workout videos till they're blue in the face, and some folks are going to get in the best shape of their life from those videos. And that's good. A few people are going to want that hands-on help, and that's where they become clients. Everybody else is winning, and that's not costing me anything. I want you guys to win. Not all of you guys are going to be my clients, and I understand that. And side note, I wouldn't want to work with all of you guys. So it's not a knock to you guys, but there's just some things that either I don't align with, I'm not a perfect specialist in your niche, or our personalities just don't mesh, and that's okay. There's a reason this channel has over 51,000 subscribers right now, just off of 40, this might be like the 45th or 46th video. And I'm not holding anything back. This channel is all about the no fluff, all killer, no filler, and your support has meant the world to me. So let me know if you find value on this channel, if there's anything that you think I'm missing. So with that being said, if you're ready to go all in on your YouTube channel, I want you to check out this video next. If you haven't yet, like I said, subscribe to the channel family by joining. Hit that little subscribe button is what I mean. Let me know what the most impactful takeaway of this video was, how long you've been following the channel. And until next time, appreciate you watching.